I got a technical difficulty for everybody that's trying to listen in on my Facebook page. We're going to do this again. All right, so welcome. What's up, everybody that's learning music business radio? Want to say what's happening. Thank you for everybody tuning in. I am honored to have with me two wonderful ladies that I've known you for, what, 5 years? I've known you for maybe a year. I mean, on Facebook.
Yeah.
About a year.
Yeah.
So let me just say this. I'm just blown away by our guest because we have Miss Myra J.
Miss
Myra J. in the house. And we have Miss Rosita Cooper. This young lady here is blazing the trail as well. What, you originally from Atlanta?
No, I'm from Mississippi.
And you're from
Chicago, South Side.
She's from Chicago. I'm going to stay on your good side. I'm going to stay on your good side because y'all don't play. That's what's up. So, you know, with Learning Music Business Radio, we try to educate and entertain at the same time. And we really try to talk about the things that's going on in the music industry, in the entertainment industry, and really educate folks about this is what to do and what don't to do. You know, as I mentioned before, with everything that's coming out with the allegations against Harvey Weinstein, that is just a perfect example of how this industry is, especially if you're a young lady, even a young man, really any age in this industry, how people can use their powers to unfortunately abuse and take advantage of you. So with this radio show, what I wanted to do was create a platform where people could listen in and learn some things from other people that have had experience in this industry. You know, I've been doing this since 1986. And one of the things that I have learned about this industry, Roy Ayers gave me probably the best advice when I was in a recording studio with him one day. And I was working as the assistant studio manager, and he was in there doing an album. And I said, hey, do you have any advice for me? And I just started a year ago in the industry. And he said, never take anything personal or you end up on your butt. And I was like, okay, is that it? I'm waiting for some Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, where's the nugget? Like, you know, but it took me 20 years to realize, wow, you know, you can't take things personal. Somebody tells you your music is not as good as you think it is, then you have to say, okay, that, you know, that's their personal opinion, but I got to go in and do it better. And don't play let me vent right here. Don't play your music for your mom, for your dad, for your kids, for your sister, for your brother, because they're all going to tell you it's good. You need to play the music for people that don't have that investment in you, where they don't want to, you know, keep it real. You know, have somebody that's like, listen, tell me what you think about this, and they're going to keep it real. Like, I remember watching Motown, the Motown story, I think it was the Temptation story, where Berry Gordy used to get the A&R people into the room, and they used to listen to the music that was coming out by the new artist. Yeah. And Berry would ask them this one question. Now, after you've heard this song, would you buy a sandwich or buy this song? And if you bought the song, if you bought the sandwich, that song wasn't hitting. But if you was like, okay, I would rather buy the song than buy a sandwich, then the song was hitting. So when you're out there, you know, showing people and letting people hear your music, go to the people that you want some criticism, some constructive criticism from. And first of all, before you're out there putting your music on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, make sure you have it copyrighted. Make sure you send those papers in. And please, I stress this at every show, get an entertainment attorney.
Yes.
Get an entertainment attorney. We're going to talk about that on the deepness, because I talk to so many people, and one of the first questions I ask them was, who's your attorney? Right now, I can't afford one right now. I'm like, well, get Legal Shield. $20 a month, get prepaid legal. At least you got somebody you can call up and be like, hey, I got a question. Because there's people out here that's signing contracts. And it's crazy. I always say the big print give it, the small print take it away. Big print give it, small print take it away. And once you sign on the dotted line, my boy, shout out to Marvin Arrington, who's an entertainment attorney down here in Atlanta. I was talking to Marvin one time, and I asked him, about his law practice on the entertainment side. He says he spends the majority of his time getting people out of bad contracts. People come to him and they're like, I gotta get out of this. So please, before you sign anything, just pick up the phone and say, listen, entertainment legal aid, Georgia legal aid. Try to get in touch with somebody before you sign something, or have somebody that has knowledge of contracts read through it to make sure that you're not signing something that years from now you'll regret. You know, before I turn it over to my guest, I brought this up, I think a couple of shows ago, where Shannon let the music play. Still hasn't been paid for that song. Let the music play. Now she gets paid when she does shows, but as far as the residuals off of that song, she's been in court for 30 years, trying to get paid off to let the music play. Because when she went into the studio to record it, the guys were like, yeah, just go in the booth, we'll take care of the paperwork later. And when she did the vocals, they tried to, on top of that, after she did the vocals, they turned around and tried to have another artist perform as her. She had to go to court just to shut down. I'm like, that ain't me, lip syncing my song. So this is how crazy an industry is. So with that being said, I gotta first go to the lady on the far right, to the far right, yeah, far right, Miss Myra J. Hey, Miss Myra J. Listen, you know what? I gotta say, you are a pioneer. You are legendary, girl.
Oh, that's so sweet.
You are.
I always get nervous when people put the terms like pioneer and legendary, because I'm like, am I dying? What's happening? I'm still here. I still got stuff to do. I haven't even had lunch yet.
Well, at least you get a chance to hear it, because a lot of people didn't hear that.
That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, because you have done things that people dream about doing. You've got some stepping stones that you have done.
Well, it's been a blessing for just a little girl from the south side of Chicago who was just silly, voted most humorous of the senior class, most humorous female. But the thing was, back in my day, we were not encouraged. Young black girls were not encouraged to do comedy or to become a writer. You know, if anything, if you were fortunate enough to go to college, you're probably going to be a social worker or a teacher or a nurse. That's
Psychology.
oh no, we weren't into specialties. Not really. And so that's what I did. I went to college and I got into social services and did all that. And then just on a whim, a guy took me to the comedy club in LA, and we saw like these 12 white boys, you know, get up there. I had never been to a comedy show, and I'm looking at them and laughing like, okay, some of them was pretty good. I said, but I think I'm as funny as some of them guys up there.
Wow.
And this guy, he said, no, because they're professionals. I think I'm as funny as some of those guys. So what happened, this was on a Saturday night, and he mentioned to me, he said, well, Monday night is open mic. I didn't even know what open mic meant.
Wow.
And he was saying, anybody can get on stage. 2 nights later, I went on stage. Had never been on stage.
No material.
Well, I had wrote some stuff out, but I had never performed comedy. I had never performed, and just was like, got up there, and thank God I got a good response, because I still say if I hadn't, I probably would still be a social worker.
Oh, wow.
But I did it, and I remember I got up, I went to the phone booth, I called my mom back in Chicago, and I said, I want to do stand-up comedy.
Now, what did she say?
She done lost her. Somebody go to LA and get married. She done lost her mind. Literally, my mama told her family, I want to tell knock-knock jokes. Yeah. She said she got a good government job, now she want to tell knock-knock jokes. So yeah, that didn't go over big with the family. But I stuck with it and stayed with it, and for the next 6 or 7 years, I still worked a 9 to 5 somewhere, and at night I was hitting them clubs
Wow.
with a passion. And I was a single mom, so as opposed to a lot of the guys, because I noticed a lot of the guys, they were either 6 of them living in one apartment with no furniture, or they had a woman who had a job. I was a single mom. I had a mouth to feed, and
Right.
so somebody, no, you need to get in, you need to get on the road full time. Da da da. No, I don't, because I got a little one with eyes this big who counts on me. So at that time, it was still very important for me to be able to bring the money in. And then there was a guy who took me under his wing, but by the name of Robin Harris. And Robin was always like, Myra, you gotta quit, you gotta quit. And one day he said, when you gonna quit? And I finally did, because he used to work at Bank of America. And
Robin Harris?
Robin!
Robin Harris?
Robin, when he
Baby
worked
kids.
worked at a bank. He worked at a bank. I was in social services, and he finally said, you gotta quit. And when I left and just decided this is it. I never went back into a 9-to-5 job.
Wow.
I just now look. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Look, y'all. There was some hard times. There was a bunch of hard times.
Ramen noodles.
No, shoot, you was uppity. He said noodles with an S on it, like you could get more than one. but it was, you know how they say, follow your passion,
Yes.
and you'll never work a day in your life.
Yes.
I loved comedy. And that just led into something else. A guy by the name of Brad Sanders told me about this guy named Tom Joyner, the fly jock who was flying between Dallas and Chicago, who had a weekend countdown
Oh, that's
show.
why he was called the fly down.
Yep. And on his weekend countdown show, he would have comedians on telling jokes between the song. And he said, Myra, he doesn't have any women on. Okay, started doing that. Tom really liked my work. I eventually became the writer for his weekend countdown show. While I was doing that, a guy by the name of Martin Lawrence got a television show. If you remember his character, he was on the radio.
Oh, that's right.
They had formed the writing staff and had maybe started maybe about a week or so. I got a phone call because as much experience as the writers had, no one had ever worked in radio. Well, Martin and I had the same manager. The manager says, I have another client who's a comedian who writes for radio.
Wow.
And I literally got a phone call that said, would you like to come write for television? Yes. Had I ever written a script?
No. There you go.
Had I ever read a script? No. The next day, I was there, ready and eager to learn and do it. And that was kind of my beginning of really just getting into the entertainment industry and just loving it and hanging in there, do or die.
When you were on the stage as a comic, what was because you mentioned Robin Harris, what was some of the other comedians that you crossed paths with?
Oh my gosh, this was back in the day. If anybody remembers in LA, the Comedy Act Theater was known as the first all-black comedy club. This is when comedy was hitting, but in Los Angeles, you primarily had the Improv and the Comedy Store. And on open mic night, all the comedians, we all stood around, they called your name out of a hat or something. You could be there for like 3 hours and never get called. So a guy by the name of Michael Williams started this venue for black comics, and it became so popular that on Thursday nights, the show, Robin Harris was the host. It started at 8 o'clock. If you weren't there by 8:30, you couldn't get in.
Wow. As a customer.
As a customer, it would be standing room only.
Wow.
And what I loved about it, people dress.
Right.
You didn't throw just anything on a roll into the club in a white beater. Are you kidding? You better get clean. Robin will talk about you like a dog. You better get clean. And it became so popular, the fire marshals was always coming by to see if it could be shut down.
Wow.
But the police would always come. And it became such a popular thing because when you opened the door, Robin Harris would say spotlight, and they would put the spotlight right on you. So when the police came in, he would do it, and he would talk about the police. We ain't got no donuts up in here. And they would, and it became such a popular thing that police officers would bring other police officers who
Just
didn't
so
know that they could talk about that. And they would be laughing like, I got you, man. So, but at that time, people, Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, Sinbad, D.L. Hughley, Louis Dix. It was so many, Simply Marvelous. Oh my gosh, just back in the day, who would just come, and it would be a great show because you'd have your blue comics,
Right.
you'd have clean comics, you had people who did impressions, people who use props, and that's the one thing that I miss about comedy today, particularly when I go into the black clubs, because I'm not a prude. We can have blue comics, but you don't have to be black and be blue.
Mm-hmm.
They don't necessarily go together.
Right.
You know, and I think with our audience, with the success of Def Jam, and Def Jam was wonderful. I did Def Jam, but I think that many black people equate our humor with the Def Jam style.
Right.
And I think we need to open ourselves up because we have people like Trevor Noah.
Right, that's right.
You know, who's very witty. I love the fact that DL has become very, very political now.
Yes.
So it's like we have other things to talk about rather than being in the ghetto and being hood and having sex and smoking weed.
Right.
Although I really relate to 3 of those, I can tell you one. But you know, we read the news, we raise children, we have families, we have vulnerabilities, we have fears. There's comedy in that.
Right.
So
Right.
let's get on stage and talk about that. So when I see people, Martin, as a matter of fact, Martin used to work the spotlight sometimes down at the Comedy Act Theater just to get time on stage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like when you have that passion, and I've had so many people come up to me saying, "Yeah, I wanna do comedy because I want a TV show." No. No. You want to do comedy because you love to do comedy. Right. That's why you should want to do comedy.
And everything else will fall in place.
You know, J. Anthony Brown, one day on the Tom Joyner morning show, he said to me off air, he said, "Myra," he said, "what a blessing. We act a fool for a living, and then they pay us."
I know that's right. That is deep. You know, you have to do a passion. I got into the music industry only because of watching Prince on the American Music Awards and saying, "Wow, he looks like he's having a lot of fun and getting paid to do it. That's what I want to do." And that was a start. That was a start. Very good. Miss Rosita Cooper in the house. So tell me, I know you're a young lady that you modeling and you're acting and you're hosting shows. How long have you been doing your thing?
Well, I started as a young girl in a church. My dad is a preacher.
Okay, from Mississippi. From Mississippi.
Mississippi
Girl in Atlanta.
That's it. The Sip. That's the name of my show too.
Oh,
Sip
I wonder where that came from.
Yeah, Mississippi.
Okay.
Sip on. Taste of everything.
Okay.
Yes, and I think my first time leading a song in the crowd was 6 years old.
Wow.
And people was like, "She sounds like a grown woman."
Wow.
You know?
We might have to have you bust a tune before we get off the day.
But for his acting, me and my brothers used to sit around and we used to mimic people off of television. And we used to watch all the movies and find out what did the director did wrong.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's why I direct now, because it's like we've been doing it since we was kids. Like, you didn't see that? That, you know, yeah. So everything as a child, I tell people never underestimate the power of play, like they say on that commercial.
Right.
Because everything that a child is doing, that's their passion right then.
Yes.
So you try to make them do. A lot of people try to make their kids do things that they want them to do. You're going to be a doctor. You're going to be a lawyer. You're going to go to school and play basketball, football. But that might not be, like she said, the passion of comedy.
Right.
You know, that's what she wanted to do. And she's very successful,
Right,
you know,
right.
because she's doing what she wanted to do, not what nobody else made her do.
What made you come to Atlanta?
The music, for the music.
Okay,
Yes.
so you came for the music.
Yes.
What has been, and like I said, we touched on you doing the modeling, the singing, the acting, the hosting. I know you do a lot of hosting, red carpet events. What is some of the biggest obstacles, I would say, that you've run into, not currently, but when you started getting into this industry, what were some of the things that you ran into, like, that
The
you could share?
men.
The men. Keep it real. So tell us, keep it real. Keep it real.
The men, you
What
know,
about them?
basically they feel as though that, you know,
Keep it real.
they can just, that you're gonna believe anything that they say, you know.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
But I'm real hard on guys, so you know.
That's good. So that brings up a good, and I got the same question for you. That brings up a good question. What has been some of the craziest things somebody has said to you in this industry? Like something like, "Wow, did he just say that?"
Well, the thing is, it ain't for us like other things. It was 3 guys that we had a meeting and they wanted to hear me sing, and each one of them, you know, they was talking about being my manager. And they like real big in the industry, so
Okay.
they loved my voice, but then wanted me to just stick to one gender.
So they
You know,
trying to
one
put you in a
gender.
box.
Yeah, trying to put me in a box, and I got a song that you can't put me in a box.
Gotcha, gotcha.
But I looked them in their face and I was like, look, I'm not going to do that, because I have a gospel songs that people have cried on. I have R&B songs that people have cried on. You know, if God wanted me to do one thing, He would have made me. He would have put one thing in my heart to do.
I feel you.
You know, so everything that I'm doing is something that I'm supposed to be doing.
feel
And
you.
I was like, y'all ain't got to sign me, because it's still gonna get done whether you help me or not.
Right.
You know, so,
Hear that, ladies? Did you hear that confidence, ladies? She put it out there. Miss Myra J, I got a question for you. Being in radio, one of the biggest obstacles as far as getting into radio, or something that's happened where you was like, without even naming names, like, well, I can't believe that happened.
Oh gosh. Well, I think for women in radio, and I've worked for or with Tom for probably close to 30 years now. And Tom has been very, very wonderful to me. But I have found that women aren't given the same opportunities. Think about it. People listening, think about it. Name a female radio jock morning drive.
Oh, that, you know
Big
what?
time morning drive. Think about
You
it.
mean headlining the morning drive?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
very interesting. Oh.
Yeah. And so many times we are relegated, you know, as the sidekick or the flavor.
exactly.
I'm a sidekick for a living, so I ain't complaining. But there are so many talented women out there, and it's the same thing as far as being, you know, producers and general managers and stuff. We're just not allotted the same opportunities as men. So it's a constant battle, and I can equate that to writing, being in the writer's room as a comic, and there's so much. Yes, there's racism, but sexism is also alive and well, and been running around for too long, and it can be a thing where if a woman writes something funny about a man, well, first of all, the chances are it's probably only 1 or 2 women in the writer's room. And many times our ideas may get shot down, like, that ain't funny.
Wow.
My thing, it ain't funny to you.
Right.
But then they'll use the same thing, just switch the
But
words
flip it,
around.
yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
That's crazy.
You know how many times have you seen a movie or in our songs?
Mhm.
Baby, I'ma do this. I'ma flip it. I'ma toss it. I'm gonna grease it up. Then I'ma throw it on the chandelier. it's like, okay, let's have a woman saying that. She ain't gonna do all that to me.
But you know what? You know because that's a very good point, because the days of Millie Jackson are gone.
Yes.
The days of Millie Jackson
Yes.
are gone. Wow,
Yes.
that's deep.
And we love Millie. We love
Word,
Millie
yes.
Jackson.
Shout out to Keisha Jackson on
Yes.
Facebook.
Yes,
Word, yes.
yes. So
Wow.
yeah, that's always a constant battle for us as women. Just the gratuitous sex, and it has to be sexy. I need to see my sexy sisters who are a size 20
Yes.
and a size 22. Because
Yes.
them little hungry looking chicks out there, I'm not hating. I'm just saying that there are different flavors and different
Exactly.
sizes to be represented, but it's always slanted.
Baskin Robbins,
That's
y'all.
right.
Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors. 31 flavors. Miss Priscilla, I got a question for you. So, out of all the projects that you do, what do you, I know you enjoy all of them, but what do you gravitate to the most? Out of the acting, the singing, the modeling, what do you find yourself gravitating to the most?
Oh, you said, I thought he said Priscilla. I was like, I didn't know her name Priscilla.
No.
I did too.
I said,
I had to adjust my headphones over.
so what do you gravitate to the most?
I think the acting.
Why?
I don't know. I just love doing it. And people ask me, they said, how did you learn how to crown the spot? I'm like, I'm the only girl in the family.
You the only one in the family?
The only girl.
So you
I'm
can-
daddy's girl, so of course I'm going to know how to crown the spot.
Oh, I get it now.
They
Get
said,
out of
how
here.
you know how to act? Because I was in a relationship I didn't want to be in.
Wow, wow, wow.
The whole life is,
So
you prepare
okay, so-
yourself
From within.
So-
from your own
Exactly.
experience.
So this-
Exactly.
This is the question I have as an actor, because I would say my first acting scene with, shout out to Michelle V, Sisters for Life. I played her brother. We just shot it last month. And that scene, only one scene I had to learn to cry. So once you do that, how do you, when you do a powerful scene where you're crying and you got all these emotions, how do you now get up and say, oh, let's go eat? Let's go ahead and talk about.
Because you was acting.
So it doesn't take you time to, because I was messed up for the day. I was
No,
like,
it's just like I said. As a little girl, you'd be like, oh, I want that dress.
Oh,
And then
see,
you're like,
so-
okay, go on to get the dress.
All right,
Okay.
I know to watch you now. Girl, you ain't really crying. You ain't really crying. We going to Red Lobster. We ain't going to, we going to Red Lobster. You ain't really crying. So, okay, so what acting projects are you working on right now?
I got a movie coming up called Devastation, and shout out to Miss Tony, director Tony Brown.
Tony
Yes.
Brown, okay.
I was in her short film, My Mother Jane, and there's a scene that I cried in. They had like
Right.
people from everywhere saying I made them cry, even a lot of guys.
Well, okay.
Yes,
okay.
and I was in Rough Patch Twisted Fate for hers, and so now Devastation, I am playing the wedding singer with my original wedding song that I wrote for the movie.
So, okay, tell me, okay, so the wedding singer, not the movie that's been out before, just a new.
No, that's just my role. I am the wedding
Oh,
singer.
you're the wedding singer. I'm thinking about
Yeah,
the movie.
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the name of the movie is Devastation.
Okay.
And I just did a lead role playing Hell in the movie Hell on Earth.
Oh, wow.
And-
In the lead role.
Yeah, I played the lead actress,
Are you
so I can't
jumping?
wait for them.
Are you jumping through windows?
Oh,
Are
no,
you
but I brought
pulling out the guns?
No, actually, before that, I played in G Warriors. Shout out to Ron Anderson. I played in G Warriors, and I was assassin in that.
Oh, get out of here! Straight.
Yeah.
Okay, so for everyone that's listening, how do you go about getting your roles?
I don't.
You don't? So
No.
how did you come in?
My first thing was Rough Patch Twisted Fate. Well, I was in stage plays once before, but Rough Patch Twisted Fate, Tony posted up that she needed some extras. And I was like, oh, I do it, you know. So ended up, when I went on set, I ended up with a role, a speaking role.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not a favor.
Yes.
That's favor right there.
Yeah, so usually I'm contacted for roles and stuff, for different things.
Wow, that's, cause the branding, that
Yeah.
online branding help. We talked about Myra when you're in the ladies' room. That's right, y'all. Before we got on the air, we was having an intimate, private conversation about the ladies' room.
So there's a meeting in the ladies' room.
There's a meeting in the ladies' room.
Not all of them are good. we were actually talking about people approaching you, and anybody who knows me, I do not consider myself as a celebrity, superstar. I talk to everybody. I'll do autographs. I'll take a picture with you, blah, blah, blah. But in the ladies' room,
It's a no-no.
No. And so this woman, I saw her come in behind me, and I go into the stall, getting ready to do my thing, and I glance up and I see an eyeball right at the crack of the door. Like she's looking like, is that really who I'm thinking? Is that thinking? Shit, I'll be out in a minute.
Oh, there you go, ladies' room right there.
I'm like, I'm midstream here, so I was at the mercy. I couldn't do nothing.
Right, yeah. See, that's
But then after that, you don't want to take a picture. You don't want. You're like, that's creepy.
You were just stalking me.
Right, get away from me. And then people, oh, see, they always want to act all up. No, we're just regular folks. What I would say to people, I would say that most and many celebrities are, well, first of all, everybody's just people. Everybody.
Right.
I don't care if they're a status.
Yeah.
And most people are approachable and they will speak, but they have lives, they have problems, they got mamas that they get sick. So don't take it personal.
Right.
I saw so-and-so and they wouldn't even take a picture with me. Well, so if a stranger came up to you from off of MARTA and said, hey, let me get a picture with you, you may not want to stop what you're doing to take a picture either.
Exactly.
So if anything, just say hello, I love your work, respect your work. If they want to take a picture, fine. If they don't, it's fine. It's all good. And you will find that the more you give them their space and are respectful, the kinder that people are.
Right,
Exactly.
As opposed to, freaking out like, ah!
So before we put the number out there for the phone line for people to call in if they have any questions, when you eventually came out, was she still standing there?
Yes. Girl, I just love you. Thank you. I'm washing my hands and backing out the door. But I ain't gonna take my eye off you because you look crazy. You just a little crazy.
That is cool. All right, so for everyone listening, join us 678-381-1973, 678-381-1973. Now, I am going to tell you this disclaimer. We don't have a lot of time. We're 1 hour show, as they say on TV. So if you call in, know that this boy from New York is going to cut you off if you get long-winded. So call in 678-381-1973 because we know we've experienced some people that we're like this in the studio like. So definitely. So let me ask you this, and then I'm going to ask you a question. But the question I'm going to ask you is, how can someone get into radio? What would be one of the first advice?
Oh my gosh! Well, see, like I told you,
you came into it.
Yeah. My path was so different. What I would suggest is internship.
Yeah.
Now, if you 47 years old, I would never squash anybody's dreams, but they might look at a 47-year-old intern with a side eye.
Right.
But if it's your passion, young people, internship, and be open to doing anything. If you want to be a disc jockey and it's a job in the mailroom, take it.
Yes.
Take it. This is a business. The more you know about the business, the more longevity you will have. I encourage all people to do that and know how to count your money.
Preach.
Okay.
Preach. You know, when I got into the industry, one of the things I wanted to do was work in recording studios. I used to get this magazine every month called Mix Magazine when I lived in New York. And Mix Magazine, I don't even think it's out anymore, but Mix Magazine was a magazine dedicated to the recording studio industry. And so when I decided at that point, you know what, I want to get into the industry. I tell people all the time, the real reason I wanted to work in recording studios so I could be in there pushing a little button with the lights on it, like that. And but I literally called hundreds of recording studios willing to work for free, and out of 100, 98 said don't call no more.
Yep. Yeah. Let me add this one other thing. When I said internship, that also. Feel free to volunteer.
Yes.
When you see these radio stations doing remotes, you see the van out there. Well, somebody had to put those banners up, and they want to pass out things and blah, blah, blah. Go to somebody with a shirt on and say, how can I, if you say the V word, how can I volunteer to help?
Wow.
Somebody will probably take your information because the bigger the event, the more people that they need.
Wow, good stuff.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Well,
Just want to add that in.
Oh, I love that. That's good. That's
to mention it, I am the sales manager at WAEN.
Oh, that's right. Congratulations.
So I am hiring interns and
okay. I want to make sure we get that info out. Definitely see that.
Sales associates, interns and stuff, and they able to get a radio show, a television show. So.
See that now? Look at it. Not only do I give you guys educate and edutainment, as KRS-One would say, edutainment, also bring jobs to the radio. So how would you tell someone as far as advice, as far as getting into modeling, getting into acting? I'm a young person just coming to you and basically want to know how to get into acting. What would you tell me?
Well, what I tell people that is asking me now, I tell them go to Facebook because social media has a lot of information for people. They have a lot of sites, the groups, you know. So you want to get into acting, join the groups. Join the groups and find out where they're doing the casting at, and you know, go out there and audition. You know, and when you do an audition, just put yourself in the shoes of the person or whoever that you're supposed to be acting as. Become that person.
Okay, so I've got a question. You hit on a good point. I am a casting director. I have worked on some of the biggest movies, it's all hypothetical, some of the biggest movie projects. You come into, we're at a networking event, and you see me and you're like, oh, that's Terry Moore. And you come up to me, what should you not say to me?
What should I not say
Right.
to you?
What should you not say to me?
Well, actually, I ain't had all that training and stuff because I just do me.
Okay, so what would you say?
I would introduce myself. Hi,
Okay.
my name is Rosita Cooper. Nice to meet you. You
Uh-huh.
know, and basically it's different with me. I know that, like, if I'm telling somebody else something, I would tell them something totally different. But with me, it's like you said earlier, it's favor.
It's
You know, it's God, you know, and I walk with God in everything that I do. And it's like, I don't change myself and I don't change my personality. When I meet people, I treat them just as I've been knowing them for years. I treat them like they my sister, they my brother, and they is equal to me. You know, so that's how I met you, and you're like my brother. You know, a lot of my friends you know, even before I started doing what I was doing, was major celebrities and stuff. But I was just like, how do you know them? I just know them. You know, they like my brother, they like my sister, you know, and it's just favorite because I don't be in that starstruck and treat them
See,
different.
and that's what I wanted to
you
get
know.
to, because, and that's why I asked that question, because when I say the right way and the wrong way, sometimes
You don't go to a person and be like, oh, I just love what you're doing.
Thank you,
And
thank
then,
you.
you know,
Right. And I always
Yeah.
say one of the best ways to network is you, for example, if I know that Myra's going to be at an event, I'm going to do my research and study. Like, okay, she worked with this person, she worked with that person. So when I see you at the event, I'm not going to be talking about Terry, and Terry, this guy, and I'm so bad, and I'm so fantastic. I'll say something to you that says, hey, we have a mutual friend. So we're sort of having a conversation like, hey, I know you know so-and-so, and I know so-and-so, and in that way, the conversation will open up into, okay, we're talking as opposed to most people say, you know, here's my CD, and I'm the baddest, and I can do this, and I can do that. And you know how many times we hear that a day.
Yep.
Like, I'm the baddest, you know. I remember one time I had a conversation with a lady, we was on the phone. For 30 minutes, she told me how bad this artist was. Oh, he's just fantastic, his music is this. And then she said at the end of the conversation, and I'm not just saying that because he's my son. I was like, oh, Dad, you done killed the whole conversation. I was thinking this is
You had
like,
that sold until you
but
said
that
that.
told me, I was like, I want to hear him. And I'm not just saying that because he's my son. I'm like, oh, well, no wonder he's so bad. So, but when you go into a networking event, I always say, and you said this, Myra, earlier, learn the business, because one of the things that I noticed is that people, I always use this example. You're at an event, Will Smith walks in with 20 people. And of course, the 20 people are standing off to one side and Will Smith is standing off to the other side. Everybody is trying to get Will Smith's attention, when I always say, look for James Lasseter. Look for JL. JL started out as Will Smith's road manager when he was Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince. Will Smith is now co-partner with JL is now co-partner with Will on Overbrook Entertainment. So while everybody is trying to get Will's attention in the right corner of the room, you notice on the left side of the room, oh, there goes JL. And you at that point walk over to him and say, hey, we share a mutual connection. You get that conversation started. Don't try to sell him on the spot, but say, hey, listen, maybe if you're in Atlanta for a couple more days, maybe I can take you out to lunch or something. Now I want to pick your brain about the industry, and can I give? First of all, too, give something. Don't always take. In this industry, I have found just by giving, I will refer anybody. Like, oh, let me introduce you to so and so. Let me introduce you to so and so. And we're in an industry where people always want to keep their contact to themselves. Oh, I can't introduce them to this person. I can't introduce them to this person. Because we're so scared of losing something. But in a minute, I'll say on the regular, let me introduce you to Kendall Minter, who's one of the top entertainment attorneys. I've known Kendall for 30 years. Nat Robinson is my mentor. I'm always saying, let me set up a meeting with you and Nat. But in this industry, learn to give, learn to refer. And if you're going to ask for advice, take somebody out to lunch. That'll give people that.
Yeah. And as well as when you're at networking events, to me, if there's someone you meet you're really interested in talking to, ask them, would you give me your contact person?
Mm-hmm.
Because that already tells them you have some professionalism. You're not trying to come to my house and have a grilled cheese sandwich with me.
Yeah.
You've given me the respect, and you know enough to just say, oh, okay, fine, great. I have a demo. I'd like to send. Can I get your contact person?
Right.
And most of them will gladly say, oh yeah, talk to Sheila. She has all the information.
That's right.
Their thought is, this is a nice person, because they did not break that personal space there. Going, give me your phone number and your address, because I want to come to your house and sing for you. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah.
Can you imagine that? But that happened.
MC Hammer said people would be on his front lawn dancing. Dancing when he would get up in the morning, people just out there, getting it, because they doing hammer time.
Wow.
It's like, no, people, that is not how
it.
it's done.
That's
It's
not
just not.
Oh, I thought about when you said what was the craziest thing that
Yeah.
had happened.
Craziest thing.
It's a guy deleted me on Facebook when I posted. Now he did do blues promotion.
Okay.
And I sang blues. I met him in Alabama when I, sung for Denise LaSalle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he had been talking about he wanted us to do something together. But when I posted up, over a year ago that I was in a relationship, he deleted me. So I just noticed that I was deleted. So I was like, you deleted me? He was like, oh, I might have did it by mistake. I said, okay, well, you can add me back. He said, why should I? You got a man.
But what does that matter?
I said, what does this have to do with us working together?
Right.
Well, I liked it you and you got a man. I said, man, I would have. I told
I'm about
him,
to be Mr.
I said, I would have
person up here.
screenshot this and shared this on Facebook.
Yeah, put him on blast.
Put you on blast.
I would definitely say, particularly for women in the industry, of course your talent is important, but so is your reputation.
Exactly.
So there are guys out there, who just want to use you, and it's coming out now, even on the levels of the elite in Hollywood. So you can just imagine what's not getting talked about,
right.
what's not getting posted. And I used to, when I was the host of the Pantene Total U Tour, I would come out on stage and we'd have thousands of women out, and I'm like, hey, all my young sisters, come on, y'all, let's shake your money maker. Hey, and I would be standing there doing this. Because your money maker is between your ears. It's not what's between the legs.
Exactly.
So everybody up here shaking their booty and
Exactly.
And trust me, I like to shake it with the best of them, but I know what I'm doing. So when a guy comes up, think about why do you have to take your clothes off?
Right.
Exactly.
For an audition?
Exactly.
Why do you? What part in this scene or in this song requires me to come over to your house at your mama's garage in a thong and some pasties to audition for you, my sisters?
Exactly.
Right.
So you and if you said, well, I cannot tell you how many guys told me you'll never work in this business and you'll never amount to anything. I'll never amount to anything to you, and I thank you for that.
Right,
Exactly.
that's
I
right.
thank you. That's a compliment
That's
to
what
me.
I'm saying.
So, use your head. You are vibrant. You're intelligent. You are talented. Don't get used, because this industry will use you up and spit you out, baby.
That's right. That's right.
Be smart about it. Be very smart.
And it's a shame that it's been going on for, what we're hearing now and what people are starting to see with some of the names that, like you say, some of the CEOs of major corporations, but this has been going on for generations.
The casting couch, that's a phrase that's been known in Hollywood forever.
Forever.
This is nothing new. This is not new. It just hasn't been talked about it. And it's the good old boys club.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's the good old boys club. So if you really want to work, you don't say anything and just kind of accept it and, put your good bra on and get back out there and deal with it again. But it doesn't have to be that way.
Right, right.
It doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't.
Ladies, and this is for the ladies that are listening that are in the entertainment industry, and this is something, guys talk.
Yes.
And, I'll give you a great example. If there are a group of guys, I'm going to hypothetically say that, give you an idea of how guys talk in a circle. Let's say guys are sitting in a restaurant, and it's 4 guys, and a woman walks in that all the guys know, maybe it's somebody that they know from work, and this is not necessarily entertainment, but I'm going to say across all industries. This is how the conversation normally goes. Oh, there goes so-and-so from the accounting department. Man, I sure would like a chance at that. And then one guy in the group will say, well, you know, I got with that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other guy, no, man, no, get out of here for real. And all of a sudden he's showing his phone and he's showing the pictures that you've been sending him. Now he's sharing it with the fellas, like, because now he's bragging about it. And now he's saying, listen, this is me. Now, when he finishes that, after he shows your pictures, your new pictures, so the one that he promised he's never going to show to anybody, just send it to me because this is just between me and you. But yeah, he's sharing it with his boys. Do you think now, when you go back to work after lunch, that those 5 guys that were sitting at that table in that restaurant that were snickering and laughing about you, they're going to have the same amount of respect for you when they go back to work? They're going to be looking at you and talking behind your back. And then on top of that, what they're going to do now is they're going to try their chance.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're going to try their chance.
Exactly. And so many of our young women want to be in the videos and stuff, and they're desperate. What video people are getting contracts? What video women are owning studios or buying television stations or starting music companies? Chick, you are done when that video is over.
Right, that's
and
right.
they are moving on to the next song.
That's right, yes,
You
that's
are
right.
done.
That's right.
Use your power, baby.
That's right.
And this is something I used to say to the women, guys, open minds.
Mhm.
But I would say to them, I said, if there was money to be made in shaking your naked behind, more men would do it.
That's right. I know that's
And that's
right.
just what I
That's
would tell
right.
them.
That's right.
I said,
That's
this is
right.
about making money, following
Exactly.
money, baby. I said, so you out there just jiggling it up and all over for a day's pay? Or to say, you want someone, see, that's me right there. That's me.
See, what I hate is when I meet someone to do business with them and they try to make me their woman, and they get all in their feelings. You know, now we can't get nothing done.
Okay.
You know, and I'm like, if you really want to impress me, help me make some money.
Right.
Because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to make some money. You really want to impress me, help me make money. Then I might say, as a single woman, why not be with him? Because he's the one helping me do what I'm doing.
Right.
You
Right.
know, but if you're not helping me do anything and you're just trying to get with me, I'm like, you in the way.
Okay.
Yeah. And on that note, too, we got about 5 minutes before we close it out, but I say the same thing what you just said. I say the same thing regarding reality stars. Because they're really, they have as first of all, it's not reality show if it's scripted.
That's right.
It's not reality show if it's
That's right.
scripted. And you may be a star of a reality show for that moment, but it's hard to make the transition after that show. I mean, very rare, with the exception of maybe Nene, but Candy, when Candy joined the Housewives, Candy was already a celebrity.
Yes. Yes.
So she's making a transition back to music.
Right.
But if you're someone that just like, okay, you were an artist behind the scene, and now you're coming back in to the reality show, Hollywood looks at you differently.
Yes.
Yeah, your value as far as your stock,
Yeah.
it definitely dropped.
Yeah.
It definitely dropped.
Yeah, because one thing they don't like is a lot of drama.
See, that's the thing. I mean, you can have a great reality show, but I'm talking about in regards to having a reality where you're throwing tables at each other.
That's
and
what I'm saying,
trying to hit
the
your-
drama.
Right, the
Yeah.
drama. Exactly. That's when your
Exactly.
stock goes down, when you're hitting people over the head every
Exactly.
week with a bottle.
Every week.
Every week with a bottle. Every week with a bottle.
Look, let me just ask y'all, what's the bottle cutoff? I mean, how many bottles can you throw before your stock drop? Because I might be thinking about doing a show. This is what I need to know before I go on air. A couple of people, I just might need to hit upside the head. Because shoot, I done already two bottles this
I
week.
definitely do too. Stop that too.
That is funny, that is funny. But you know, I hope that people that listen to this show and you know every week. Oh, and I gotta say this is actually because I'm gonna shut it down for the end of the year. This is actually gonna be the last Friday until the beginning of the year. But I want to thank everybody before I forget this part. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, all my Facebook friends, all the people from DKM Radio. Thank y'all for listening in. But I'm going to shut it down for this show until to the end of the year. I was about to say something, because we know in the entertainment industry, November, December, they shut it down anyway.
Yeah,
They shut it down, and everybody on vacation and holidays and stuff like that. But before we go, we got 5 minutes left. Share, Miss Myra, how people can find you, what you're working on now.
Okay, Facebook, I'm at Myra J, and my last name is just Myra J backwards. So Myra J, J-A-R-Y-M, that's on Facebook. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's gotta be Myra J. Gotta be Myra J.
What are you working on?
And I'm still doing some freelance writing. I host events, and tonight I will be hosting a fundraiser. It should be a great show, a jazz show with Melvin Miller and I think Trey Daniels at the Porter Sanford Theater at 8 o'clock, and I will be cutting a fool.
You hear that, folks? You hear that, folks? You hear that, folks? We got Mr. Rob about to say something. Rob, what you got?
Did you say theater?
Theater. Theater, yes. Yes.
So, Miss, okay, now I'm Steve. Okay, Miss Cooper, what do you got going on?
Well, this Sunday I have a movie shoot that I'm doing. And like I said, the other movie, Devastation, that's going to come up.
When is Devastation coming out?
I don't know. I just got to wait for my date when I go on scene.
Okay, got it.
They know I'm going to be ready, so whatever.
Right.
And then I have a stage play that I'm singing my gospel song, I Still Rise in. And the stage play is called I Rise. And well, I don't forget.
No, you know what? Right, I'm sorry, because you know Mr. Rob.
A fashion show.
Fashion show.
Yeah,
Okay.
a fashion show. So y'all can find me at Rosita Cooper on Facebook, Rosita Cooper on Instagram, Miss Sip One.
Mr. Rob,
Miss Sip
I'm sorry.
One.
Go ahead.
And I am at WAENFM.com on Fridays from 3 to 4 if you want to listen in.
All right, that's what's I'm sorry, you know Mr. Rob trying to give me a hand signal. He giving
I
me
know,
smoke
and
signals.
Can I get you to sing just a little bit? Just a little bit. You ain't got to
Can you take a cake? How much time we got?
Give us a little something.
We'll
We'll go a little further just to let her
No,
sing.
but I'm saying she can lead us out and lead us out, right?
2 minutes, yeah.
Okay, cool. Go ahead and lead us
I ain't
out.
gonna leave it at that. I'll say something else.
All right, go ahead, Keith. Go ahead. What you got?
Okay. I'm gonna do Selena Johnson intro song.
Okay, I'm ready. Go ahead.
One day I was feeling low down, was having bad thoughts like I won't be around, was thinking maybe I should get out of this game. I thought that nobody want to hear me sing. I thought that nobody even knew my name. Okay.
Oh, that's what's up.
All right.
That's all right. That's all right. All right. Okay, girl, I'll come see you perform. I thought I'm gonna have to turn off the lights on you. I thought it was like the fan man. I thought I had to get the hook
Y'all
on
done
you.
caught me off guard.
Well, I want to thank both of y'all. I mean, it's definitely it's always an honor to have wonderful guests, and I want to say thank you
Thank
for
you
both
so
of y'all.
much for
I
having
do.
us.
And I mean, it's just, it does my heart good. I think I added another 10 years just for them laughing and them smiling. So y'all have added to my life, and I appreciate that. Thank you for coming, and I appreciate both of y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you for everybody listening, and everybody on Facebook, DKM Radio. Thank you to my brother Rob, man. It's been good, man. It's been good. Appreciate you, definitely. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Have a great week.
Yay, that was
That's
fun.
what's up. Now, when you did,
I want to say I am just honored.
oh, I was about to say, you did remote when you did Tom Joyner.
Yes, yes.
So you home?
No, when I was in LA,